a company that I put together to enhance careers for people. And that's whether you have a job or whether you're looking for a new job or you're a salesperson looking for new customers, whatever it might mean. And we do it in 3 ways. The first way is by having a presentation at the beginning of the meeting. I give a little 5-6 minute thing, out-of-the-box job search techniques, but it could also be out-of-the-box customer search techniques. It's all the same. And then we have a speaker for 30 minutes today, Zach Taylor from Nokia. Very lucky to have him here today. And then the other component is one-on-one coaching, which I do with individuals. So, let's get started. This is our agenda for today. The projector is lousy. I borrowed it. Couldn't get it working tonight. So it is all out of focus. But it's crystal clear to me when I look at this. So let me just explain it to you. So we're starting today with the introduction. Then we have Zach Taylor giving his presentation. At 6:45 we'll break for refreshments. 7 p.m. we start what I call SpinNet. And SpinNet is an interesting spin on networking that I don't think you've seen before. And I'll go into that a little bit before we actually start and after the refreshments. In fact, John had a suggestion of doing a short role play to show you what I'd like to do for feedback for people that are presenting at the individual tables. And 8 o'clock, SpinNet is over. We have the room till 10 o'clock. So what's nice about SpinNet is you get to talk to everybody in the room at the individual tables, get to know everybody, so that when the room opens up, there isn't a single person in the room that you haven't spoken to, whom you don't know, and you know and you know everything about them. At least to the extent that whether or not you want to spend a lot more time with them when the room opens up. So at 10 o'clock, if we're still here, we go home. So last month, still saying last week, but it was last month, we talked about an out-of-the-box way to identify a hiring manager. So I decided that was just one method, and I decided to bring you another method that you might use for discovering a hiring manager at your target company. And this could also be finding the decision maker at a company when you're a salesperson. So it's analogous. Now it's out of the box. So I call it dial by name derby, and I've used this phrase with a few people, but I haven't really described it. The last month we talked about getting to the hiring manager at CBI Millis Grias, and we knew the person's name, so we started dialing his name on the dial by name directory, found out he was there, etc. So there is another method that you might use, which I consider a method of last resort, and that's what I call dial by name derby. And the theory is that if you can find anybody at the company to talk to, and you talk to enough people there, somebody there will help you. Now that's worked for me. It really does work. If you say, please, can you help me? If you ask 5 people, 1 out of 5 will probably try to help you in some way. So when you finally get to the hiring manager, then you have your elevator speech ready, which you get really good at here at this meeting. You mention your product or the job that you want, and then you get your information to them. So how do you actually execute the dial by name derby? First, you always have to have a pencil and paper. Anytime you do any of this stuff, you've got to be able to write information down. And you basically write down anything that you hear while you're using any of these methods, because you never know when it's going to come up. So what you do is you get on the dial by name, and this is from your target company, and you just say, start with a consonant. When it says, please dial your party's name one letter at a time. So you start with a C, and then wait, see what happens. If a name doesn't come up, then pick a vowel. And I'm serious. I'm really serious. And after a while, the system may time out. Some of these systems have different kinds of operating modes. But you can always call back and try it again. It's sort of like hacking in a way. So you just keep writing down what you tried. And if you've done a C and an A and you timed out, you can come back in and do C, A, and then try another letter. Eventually, you're going to hear somebody's name or a couple people's names. Remember, this is a last resort. You don't know anybody in this company. You haven't found anybody on LinkedIn. You haven't found anybody anywhere. So you keep going through here, and after you try enough letters and you try enough vowels, you'll find a person's name or multiple names. So what you do is you write any names that you get on this dial by name, you write down. Once you get some names, then you go back to the tricks that we've learned for the last couple of months, and you start doing some research on those names. Use Google, use LinkedIn, use Facebook, and see what you can find out about these people. See if they'll get you closer to the hiring manager. So what do you say when you know nothing about the people that you've uncovered? You got names, you don't know anything about them. So I've done all of these, I really have. If you're looking for an accounting job, you call up and say, oh, I was looking for the accounting manager. Let's say you're selling accounting software, and they may transfer you to the accounting manager just because you said you were looking for the accounting manager. That doesn't happen a lot, but sometimes it does. Or you can call up and say, hello, Jack, and you have no idea what the guy's name is. He goes, no, this is Don. Oh, Don, I was looking for Jack. He's the director of engineering. He says, oh, no, I think there might have been a Jack, but his name is actually Harry Legg. Did you like that name? I came up with that all by myself. Harry Legg. And this is supposed to be a bingo board, but you can't see it because it's so horrible. So now you know the guy's name. People will do this sometimes, unless you know the tricks, and then when people call you when you're sitting at your desk and try to pick your brain, you know, you're savvy. Nobody ever gets through to me like this, ever. Oops. So, what do you do when you get Harry Legg, the hiring manager, on the phone? You tell him that Don Anderson just referred you. It's not a riddle, it's the truth. He referred me. He goes, oh, Don, my great friend. Hopefully you don't get Don in trouble. Don can always say, I don't know the guy, or I didn't know what he was doing to me. He was just too good for me. So once you get the guy on the phone, you offer to send him your resume, you offer to email a brochure to him, and you also make sure that he really is the decision maker, the guy that you want. And you write down every single thing that he tells you, everything. You just keep writing and worry about what you wrote afterwards. Go through, after you're finished, you hang up the phone and go through everything. So what do you do when you get somebody on the phone and they won't play? They won't transfer you, they won't play, they get someone like me on the phone and won't do anything. Go to the next person. You got 4 names, go to the next person. And you can ask them for the decision maker's name and see if they'll tell you. If they do, thank them, and then ask them for the hiring manager's email address so that you can get in touch with them. If they won't give you the hiring manager's email address, call through the front desk and see if you can press O and get to the operator and ask them what so-and-so's email address is. They usually give it to you because you knew the guy's name. If you ask them what's the name of the accounting manager, they won't tell you. But if you say, what's Harry Legg's email address, they'll tell you that.